Do you know what a computer is all about? Computer is an electronic device for storing and processing data, typically in binary form according to instructions given to it in a variable program. In this video, we'll tell you about the historical development of computer according to generation and how computers went from being the size of a room to be as small as a matchbox. One of the ancient computers created is the Egyptian abacus. It was used for calculation more than 5,000 years ago. However, we are going to take a look at the history of computer generation, which begins with the first digital computer. The first generation computers worked from 1940 to 1956 when J.P. Eckert and J.W. Mochi invented the first successful electronic computer called ENIAC. The first generation computers operated on vacuum tubes, which served as the circuitry, and the magnetic drums served as the memory. These computers were big in size. They also required a lot of electricity and heated up very quickly, which made them break down easily. It used a basic programming language called machine language, which allowed them to solve only one math problem at a time. The second generation computer lasts from 1956 to 1963, when the tubes were replaced by transistors, which resulted in smaller, cheaper, and faster computers. The magnetic drum was replaced by a magnetic core. This computer also required less energy to run and make them not easily break down. The new generation moved on to assembly language, which meant that the computers understood commands given to them in words and they were able to store the instructions in their memory. During this generation, many high-level programming languages were introduced such as Fortran and COBOL. First computers of second generation were used in atomic energy industry. The third generation lasts from 1964 to 1971 and it required the use of integrated circuits (IC), invented by Robert Noisy and Jack Kilby. These circuits were basically the same transistors used in the previous generation, but only smaller and more powerful. The computers of the third generation were small enough for people to have them in their homes and accessible to the public. Computers in this generation had monitors, keyboards, and most importantly an operating system which they used for better resource management and used the concept of time sharing. Hence, the OS allowed the computer to run several programs simultaneously. The fourth generation of the computer has lasted from 1971 to 1980. The integrated circuits became even smaller, small enough to mount thousands of them on a silicon chip. This chip was now responsible for everything, from memory and central processing unit to input and output. In 1971, Alan Shugart leads a team of IBM engineers who invent the floppy disk, allowing data to be shared among computers, and in 1973, Robert Metcalfe, a member of the research staff for Xerox, develops Ethernet for connecting multiple computers and other hardware. Finally, let's see where we are now. We are at the period of the fifth generation that takes place in 1980 onwards. At the early stage of this generation, IBM and Apple introduced their first personal computer. In 1981, the first IBM personal computer, codenamed Acorn, is introduced. Also, in 1983, Apple's Lisa is the first personal computer with a GUI was introduced. Until then, the computer of the fifth generation began smaller and faster. With the newfound power and popularity of PCs, it became possible to create networks between them, and this eventually led to the creation of the Internet. This generation computer also relies on the use of artificial intelligence, and the aim is to make a device which could respond to natural language input and are capable of learning and self-organization. The development of technology has become so much faster in recent years. The advancement of the computer rapidly happens thanks to the faster processor and the ever-increasing internet speed. Who knows, maybe in a few years we'll have a fully functioning computer running on AI. Technology is incredibly fascinating. It moves at a pace that is hard to comprehend. Our parents use machinery that seems valuable to us, while our grandparents probably never even saw a computer in their early years. We are truly fortunate to be able to witness the creation of a new era. Hopefully, we'll be there to see it unfold.